So why'd you hate it?
It was not good. Everything just fell flat. I hated Clara. Everybody sucked.
2, 3, 4. Who killed your darlings?
Welcome back, everybody, to our Silver is for Secrets episode.
The third book in the Blues for Nightmares series. And
I had a lot of thoughts about this. I'm excited to dive in.
yeah, I'm excited to dive in too, especially because, so Adriana texted me, I hate this book, and I said, save it for the pod. And then I hadn't finished reading it yet. And then I was like, ooh, I think I get it. And before we started recording, I don't know, you made some vague comments that made me think we don't hate the same things.
I think I didn't want to fully explain, but yeah.
Okay,
well,
so
let's get in, but let's read the synopsis first, and then
Yes.
we can dive into this book.
'Kay.
Are you ready for the synopsis?
yes.
School is over now, and Stacy and her boyfriend Jacob and their friends have rented a beach cottage for the summer. Nothing could go wrong, right? No more stress, secrets, or stalkers. But then Stacy's nightmares return, predicting the death of a girl named Clara. We'll talk more about her later.
Of course we
And
will.
now Jacob, the only one who understands Stacy's magic, is keeping secrets too. Is he betraying Stacy's trust or protecting her from tragedy?
Dun, dun, dun. So why'd you hate it?
It was not good. Everything just fell flat. I hated Clara. Everybody sucked. All of this could have been avoided if Jacob had just talked to Stacy. It didn't make sense to me that he wouldn't.
I do understand that.
It does and it doesn't. Like, it does make sense, but it's kind of like a lame reason.
It's a cop-out.
Yeah.
I see what I thought was going to be at the forefront of your hatred was the aggressive women on women hate.
Yes, no, I was going to talk about that too. Women were terrible. They were slut shaming. They were body shaming.
It also happened so quick. And I understand.
They turned on Clara immediately.
Like, she didn't do anything when she introduced herself to them.
Especially because, we'll talk more about this later, but she flirted with them, but she didn't really know that they had, like, the guys, but she didn't really know that they were attached, right? It was it was kind of just like a little, like...
No, she
knew, but she didn't know. We'll get into that.
Well, my thing, though, is, like, it happened, the shaming happened immediately when she knocked on the door to introduce herself. So for anyone who maybe hasn't read it, they're renting this beach cottage. Clara knocks on the door. She's like 15 or whatever. And it's mostly, I think, college kids that vacation around there. And so she says, like, my family and I vacation here every summer, and it's hard to find people closer to my age. And so she's trying to make friends. And then between her and then Drea, there was just this immediate, like, hatred for each other, just immediate
she was
body
like,
shaming.
Oh, like, your thighs are so, like, something like...
It was something like about, like, somebody made a comment about a really good ice cream place.
And she's like, oh, I can't do it. I have to watch my figure. Though some of us don't need, like, some of us don't really care that much.
Yeah.
Like that, those kind of backhanded compliments.
And and then from that initial thing, it was just this immediate hatred for Clara between Drea and Amber, really. Stacy wasn't really participating in it because she's having dreams about her and she's trying to save her life.
Yeah,
but
I think she was like, okay, yeah, Clara's annoying, but does she deserve to die because she's annoying? No, I have to save her life.
But they were just it was just so
and also
annoying to me.
I just
want to
be like, she's 15, and at this point in time, they're all 18.
Yeah.
So, like, what is PJ trying to do to get with a minor? Like,
I thought about that too.
Stop it. It's all, and then she's like dating frat. Like, Clara has like had a previous relationship with like one of the frat guys that are like renting one of the cottages near that. And I'm like, what are you doing with a 15-year-old?
I will say, and I don't agree with it, but it is less unsettling for me for an 18, 19-year-old to be pursuing a 15-year-old than like a 23-year-old to be pursuing a 15-year-old.
I agree, but it was still like...
Because in my opinion, if you could both still be in high school together, then it's less troubling.
But so I'm assuming the college frat guys are
No.
about 19.
Probably 19, probably
Yeah,
19.
because
no,
they're
that's
in
not
a
okay.
fraternity. That's not okay. I see
the
what you're
PJ
saying,
and
but
Clara thing, it's just like, like
he did just graduate high school.
he did. Yeah, they could be in high school together. It's like, and I had friends in high school who like would joke when their boyfriends or girlfriends would like turn 18 before them, like, ooh, watch out. And it's just like, but you guys are in a relationship. And that's fine. So like, that's the part where it's like, I understand the hard line and like, yes, like we do have a major problem with like people preying on young people, but yeah, it's so hard to say because they did just graduate. They're still, all intents and purposes, high schoolers.
Yeah.
They
haven't started college. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, also, I think I remember when I was reading this, I wrote down, how does PJ fit into this friend group? I don't understand.
Yeah, I guess we don't know how.
I don't understand PJ. I don't understand how he fits in with the guys. I don't understand, like, all the girls seem to view him as kind of like an annoyance that must be tolerated. I don't think anybody...
they acknowledge the constant flirtation between Amber and him.
Yeah,
though.
but Amber's still like, the flirting it's mean flirting. Like, it's insulting.
No, but she gets mad when he, like, she likes him. She gets mad when he
I
goes
know, but
for
it's like,
Clara.
but for the other girls, like Drea and Stacy in particular, it's like, he's just annoying. And, that's PJ being PJ. But I'm like, why are you guys hanging out with this guy?
Well, what I found interesting was, so the three girls are friends. They've been friends the whole series. They lived together their senior year of high school. Chad and PJ really only know each other because of the girls, and I wouldn't even really call them friends. Like, I don't think they hang out on their own. And then Jacob comes into the mix. And so them sharing a room together, I was like, that's awkward because they're not friends.
We never got to see that dynamic of like how, like, they kind of said like, oh, it's kind of weird because Chad and Stacy used to date. And now here's Jacob, Stacy's new boyfriend. I'm like, let's dive into, like, let's see more of that awkwardness.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the three guys hanging together. Because also the three guys were never together. And I guess on one hand, it does make sense to me that they were on separate wavelengths because the three guys only know each other because of these women.
Yeah.
So it's like a coexisting thing in this friend group rather than them being friends. But throughout the course of the summer, I think it would have been really hard for them to not bond in some way.
Because they're like, I'm assuming, what happens when you share rooms late at night with your friends? Like, you just talk.
Yeah.
What were they, like, how did their relationships, like, work? We never got to see that, and I get it because we are seeing things from Stacy's point of view, but we never see the guys hanging out and, like, really interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Especially because Jacob's just, like, MIA, like, the entire book.
But, and I know they explained it, but I was also like, there's no way in hell 6 teenagers all sort of dating each other wouldn't be sharing rooms.
Yeah,
and I know
like, they would keep, like, sure, they would tell their parents, like, yes, girls are sleeping in one room, guys are sleeping in the other.
And I know, like,
nobody's
Stacey
there to, like...
Stacey briefly touched on it. Like, she said something about that's why we're having the PG-13, rooming situation. But I was like, there's no fucking way.
The parents aren't there. They're never going to know that you lied to them.
Yeah, you guys...
And you guys are all 18.
Yeah, it just... And maybe it was because Amber and PJ aren't together. Like I said, I can't remember the reason, and I'm not going to slip through and find it. Like, it made sense when it was briefly touched on, but still in my head, I was like, no.
I know. Wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's no reason for them to be staying in those rooming situations.
Yeah.
The women were not nice to each other.
They were, and I don't know, it's just, I guess it is like teenagery behavior. And then it's very, it's evident how insecure Drea is about her relationship with Chad and just how insecure she is as a person. So it makes sense that maybe some young, cute, bubbly little thing would trigger something in her.
Yeah.
But Amber just, like, aggressively hated her. I mean, I guess Amber really started to hate her when she and PJ were flirting. But yeah, I was just like, it's just the women on women hate. I wrote
this is a very weird interaction with Clara when she was first introduced. It was really odd. Clara as a character doesn't really make much sense to me because she's very much like a caricature.
Sorry, Clara.
Yeah. What did I say?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't
Clara.
listening.
No, I was like, wow, thanks. Clara, because her and then the whole thing that we find out at the end made me so angry because I was like, really? We're still dealing with this shit? Can't there be something new? Can't there be another reason why this group is being targeted? It all has to circle back to fucking Donovan?
I mean, let's get into that in a second, but I found the thing. They're talking about some people who watch the young girls on the beach, and Clara says, I know, some of them are so gross, they just openly gawk at anybody.
Yeah, to Drea.
And it's just like...
It's like the whole book is just interactions where she's doing that. And when she's not doing that, she's flirting with everybody else's boyfriend.
Yeah, but to get into, is a motive behind it. She had a crush on Donovan. She went to the same prep school as them. She's 2 years younger than them. And
she didn't just have a crush on Donovan. She was in love with him.
She
loved him.
She found out they were summering at this beach and came to fuck up all their lives, basically. So with that, it does make sense why
she keeps flirting with
so much drama happened. To me also, so I had genuinely no memory of who the person was. I only remembered the end with Jacob, which we'll get into, but I completely forgot who the target was, who the evil person was in this one. But throughout the whole book, I was like, Clara's suspicious. Clara's full of nobody's that fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, she's faking, right? I was like, she's full of shit.
She's not a good liar.
Well,
she's just not. And
even with her stalking stuff, I was like, she's faking this.
No, it was so obvious. And Stacey took it so seriously.
Understandably.
But I'm just like, Stacey, use your critical thinking. Think about this a little bit. You've never things aren't adding up, but she had it does make sense with her character. It was just annoying.
But the way Clara would giggle about the things of you're gonna die, and the way she would giggle because she wanted to kill Stacey, is just so if I approached you and was like, I'm having dreams that you're gonna die, and you giggled at me, I would be like, okay, bye. If you I would be like, what?
There's only so much you can do to help somebody if they're not willing to help themselves. And all throughout the book, Clara has shown that she's not taking this seriously, and she doesn't really care because, spoiler alert, it's not real. None of the threats against Clara are real. But Stacey's so focused.
Well, she's traumatized from her past experiences with Mara and then Veronica.
And I think that's really interesting because that's her fatal flaw, you know?
Mm-hmm. But she's easily manipulated because of that, because she's gotten to this place of I will set myself on fire to keep everybody warm.
Yes.
I will not survive the psychiatric effects of somebody else dying, quote unquote, because of me, which she needs to unpack that in therapy.
She does. But it just amazes me that nobody else kind of pinpointed it and kind of was and all of it was
I think they're all traumatized.
Yeah, but it was mostly why help Clara? She sucks kind of thing. I think I wrote down in my notes, it's a wonder Stacey was able to stop any of the bad things that happened to them throughout the years, given how utterly and completely useless all of her friends are.
Yeah, that was, it was an interesting point of view for both Drea and Amber to imply that Clara doesn't deserve help because she's annoying or a skank or coming after our boyfriends.
Yeah, when it really it would have been more interesting if throughout the novel they'd be hey, something's not I know I don't like her, but you gotta look beyond your own fears. Something's not adding up here. It would have added more layers to the story instead of just being she's just such a skank.
Yeah, I think I would have also either preferred them to have immediately disliked her, but from a perspective of even the other girls having intuition of being I can't put my finger on it. I don't know why I don't like her. And then her behavior becomes more blatantly disrespectful to them.
Instead of it happening, boom, just like that.
Yeah. Or I would have preferred maybe for them to welcome her into their group with open arms and hang out with her for a while and then have it turn.
Yeah.
I also think even maybe as an audience member, liking Clara would have then made the turn on her coming to fuck up their lives that much more devastating. Because the whole time, because of the way it's written and the women on women hate, as a viewer, you're also this bitch is annoying.
Yeah, why, Stacey, let it go. You know,
Yeah.
you can let this one slide.
Yeah, but because like we don't like her and then she turns out to be, you know, the villain of the story, it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, well, good, get this bitch out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like her either.
And also, I'm just like, she's so obvious, and Drea and Amber are literally just like playing right into her hands. Like her plan to like fuck up their lives and like ruin all of their relationships. It's so obvious from day one, and they're just walking right into the trap.
Yeah. Also, her plan was to frame Chad and get him arrested for stalking her and then to kill Jacob. Was that her plan?
I don't know if her plan was to kill Jacob.
I think her plan. So Jacob dies at the end of the book. Everybody, we didn't mention
she
it.
just wanted to kill Stacey. I think Jacob just was an accident.
But they said the railing that he leaned up against a vital like screw was missing in the
But
thing.
how could she have planned him to be up against the railing?
Well,
how could she have known
She
that?
was telling him to back up.
Yeah, I guess.
He falls off the boat, everybody.
Yeah.
Jacob dies and falls off the boat. It's very sad. They also
So-
fucked the night before he died.
I know. And also, the reason why Jacob is so MIA throughout the book is because he's been having dreams that he is going to die.
to drown.
And he's going to drown. And he doesn't want to tell Stacey because reasons.
Well, I think he said like I think he wanted to tell her because I also don't know how I feel about. I remember reading this part of the book as a teenager, but at the end of the story, there's Jacob's journal entries for when he's having his nightmares, and then they also have a transcript of Stacey and a therapist, which I kind of understand why I would honestly the journal entries would have been fine. The transcript I don't understand really why that was there, but his journal entries say that he was going to tell her, and then she started having nightmares, and he noticed how overwhelmed she was, and he was like, she's going to drop everything to help me, and she should keep helping Clara. So that part I do kind of understand, but eventually he should have
But also,
told the
like,
truth.
wouldn't it? I think it's telling. Like, Stacey immediately starts having nightmares. Like a couple days after he started having nightmares, it's not a huge leap to assume that the two are connected. And so, him telling Stacey would not necessarily mean that she would drop everything. It would mean that they had more pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, but I think
I know hindsight is 20/20.
yeah, and I also think yes, if you zoom out, her dreams were presenting that, you know, we're trying to clue in that Clara was bad, and then toward the end we're cluing in that Jacob was in trouble. But I think the way her dreams were presenting and the way she was describing them, even if Jacob had said, hey, I'm having these dreams that I'm going to drown and die, I don't think we would have been able to put those two together. I think what it would have done
also
mostly
she
probably is say that like the person after Clara is going to get you. I don't think the way the clues were being mapped out would have pointed to that until the very end when she saw him holding the lilies in her dream. And then, you know, like, because his dreams were just of him drowning. They didn't have really any clues. It was just him drowning in water. So it's just like,
It's true.
yeah. So I think we're sitting in a perspective of, yeah, you should have told her. But I think in the moment, the way they were lined up, I think if they had shared with each other, I don't think those dots would have been connectable.
And also Stacey was having like a kind of psychic block against premonitions of what was happening with Jacob, right? There were, I mean, it's subtle, but there were like some instances where she was like trying to like, okay, what is the man with the lilies? Like, what does that mean? And it was kind of like she wasn't really getting anything. And then there was stuff with Jacob where she was kind of halfway sensing it, but I think that was like something that was just blocking her from being able to fully grasp.
I mean, I don't think it was a block. I think that's a pretty normal trajectory for the way her premonitions unfold. Like, to me, that wasn't a block. It was just based on all the stories so far, they are blurry and then they, you know, come into focus for the climax of the story. So to me, that didn't mean anything.
I think I took that because she was also having, I mean, she started having nightmares, but she was also having like random bouts of like insomnia where she wanted to fall back to sleep to try and see what her dreams were telling her. But then there were a couple times where she just couldn't sleep. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I didn't think anything of it.
But also in regards to like the transcripts, like the last like 10 pages of the story are like,
Something like that.
newspaper clippings, like transcripts from Stacey's therapy sessions, Jacob's journals. I think
Right, the newspaper article. I forgot about that.
I think those would have been way more interesting if at the start of like every chapter we could have had like like a slice of that without giving away any spoilers. Like, so
yeah.
we know like somebody's going to die at the end of this book, but you don't know who.
And it would like a Big Little Lies
Yeah,
style.
yeah, like that. I think that would have been really interesting, and it would have like to just weave those throughout the narrative.
Yeah, because it did feel weird to just tack on all this information at the end.
It kind of felt like an afterthought, and to just weave it through the narrative would have heightened the tension, and it would have made it more interesting.
Yeah, or even just, I could have even done without, I didn't need the newspaper article, obviously, unless it was strategically put in there, or the transcripts with her therapist. I think I would have preferred at the end of the story, because at the end, so Jacob's body isn't found. He falls off of a cruise ship. There's like a frat party cruise thing.
Which is always a bad idea.
Yeah, putting drunk frat boys on water is not good. But she, you know, defers from college, and then she stays there
because she's
after they were supposed to leave, in the hopes that he's going to come back. She hasn't accepted he's dead. And I would have preferred maybe the book showing some of that, and then showing her going into his room and like picking up his journal, because she found his journal earlier and she didn't know he kept one, and then her opening up the journal, and then we read the journal. Like, I didn't like that it was just like tacked on at the
because
end.
it was like,
I liked the information and I liked Jacob's perspective.
Yeah.
But I would have liked it to be less of just like, here's some journal pages.
It felt so tacked on. Like,
Yeah,
it was
like,
such an afterthought.
Show me Stacey walking into that room in her grieving process and picking up that journal, and like maybe going through his stuff, smelling his shirt. Like,
and taking his journal out onto the beach and like looking out at the water and like opening the journal up.
Yeah.
Like, give us some of that.
One thing I will say though that I found very sexy is the bodily function Stacey's getting from her dreams
I
in
know
this
exactly
one
what you're talking about.
is bloody nose, and she has a bloody nose in one scene, and Jacob takes off his shirt and hands her his shirt and I was just like, why is that so hot?
So I wrote it
Why
down.
is it so hot?
I said there's got to be better ways to stop a nosebleed than using a guy's shirt as a tissue, but I don't care.
No, it's so hot. If a man takes off his shirt for me in some sort of need like that, hot.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah.
So hot.
I was like, I'm here for it, Jacob.
Same with like
accept this.
Same with like if my bathing suit top rips and a guy pulls off, gives it to me, or like something like, it's just hot.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is
Men, take your shirt off more. No, I'm just kidding.
like, if I'm bleeding, give me your shirt. But it was I love that. Also, one thing too that I found interesting, I know it's because it's a young adult novel, but I think to get around not dropping F-bombs, she uses the word funk.
Oh my God, I noticed that all
And
the time.
it really bothered me.
One time I read it as fuck and I was like, finally, we're getting somewhere. And I looked at it again and I was like, oh, she's using funk.
No, the word funk was just used to replace the word and I was just like, at least pick one of the more normal PG-13
Like
words.
fudge.
No.
It's still gross. I don't know. Just say the word fuck. Just say it.
Freaking.
Oh yeah. That works.
Freaking. Or just like screwed.
Fork.
This isn't the good place. But I am also incredibly happy that Stacey and Jacob fucked the night before he died.
Oh yeah. Get yours, Stacey.
Yeah. They needed to.
They did.
And I'm assuming that was their first time.
Yeah, it was. It was for sure.
And
because there's that moment where he's like, "Are you sure?" And she's
Right,
like,
that's
and then
true.
she finally tells him, like, "I love you."
yeah.
it's
And then
beautiful.
he dies.
They needed to have more sex.
Yeah.
All of this could have been avoided if they
If
just
they just
stayed
had more sex.
off of the boat and just had sex in the cottage.
Yeah. It is that thing, too, of like Jacob wasn't going to go on the cruise. He was staying away from the water, staying out of the water. And yeah, at that point when there was that major like crack in the foundation of their relationship, I do, I think also Jacob could have held out on telling her what he was afraid of. Or what he was dreaming about for a while. And then when their relationship was really hurting because of it, then he could have told her. And then I think it would have also still been very interesting if maybe he wasn't going to go and then he had a dream and then he ran to get on the cruise to do something. I think telling her to go on I'm going to be safe here, at home. I'm not going to leave the room.
Yeah, but then
you go take care of Clara because that's who we think is in trouble. And then him having some sort of dream maybe about Stacey being in danger. because she was in danger
Man, that
from
would have been
Clara.
amazing.
Then he shows up and maybe he doesn't tell her he's there, and then he shows up and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing on the boat?"
And then they bone. I also
I
think
would
it
have
would
liked
have
them
been
to bone before being on the boat.
I think it would have been really interesting. I also want to say, do you think, so they had sex in the room on the boat that they had. Clara was right next door, and I'm like, do you think that Clara was just had a glass to the wall?
Was she next door the whole time?
She
or
was next door the whole time.
No, I think she was out doing stuff.
Oh, I think they like put her in the room. Like they had saw her
She's
to
not gonna
her.
listen to them.
I'm just saying. I think that's what it was.
Also,
Like,
how thin do you think those walls are?
I mean, it's a fucking boat. I don't know. I've
How
never been on
loud
a
do you
boat.
think they were? They were both virgins.
Do we know that Jacob was a virgin?
I don't know. Actually, that was an assumption.
What I was going to say is I think it would have been more interesting if throughout the book, like Jacob would have been like, I have to talk to you about something. I need to talk to you about something.
And she was like, no,
and
I don't
then
have time.
something keeps getting in the way. Like, I don't know, the stuff with Drea and Chad, Clara, like something keeps interrupting them, but he keeps like trying to be like, I need to talk to you about this. And then like, she just keeps getting sidetracked. And then we find out that blah, blah, blah. I think that would have been more interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't structured as well as it could have been.
That's why I said earlier, I was like, I felt cheated. I felt like, and the reason why I said that is I think this book could have been way better than it was. I think it had potential. I think this is like a first draft is what I think. And I think if she could have retooled it, it wouldn't have been like amazing, but it would have been way better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the whole thing, let's talk about that. Like the whole thing with Clara and Donovan. I thought that was so stupid. I read it and I was like, I'm mad.
Yeah, because
Why does
wasn't
it-
the only clue was that Amber said she looks familiar to me when she first came by or something
and
like that.
And this is another, like, I don't give a fuck about Donovan anymore. Like, I wanted like new issues. Why do all roads keep leading back to Donovan?
I mean,
and her reasoning was so stupid too. Like,
I wouldn't mind the Donovan connection,
Maybe if
just
just
because
been-
that was like the seed that planted the whole
Yeah.
thing. I don't, that through line doesn't bother me, and like because it was even there in White is for Magic. It came on through in that a little bit there, but the reasoning for the connection to Donovan was weak. Like I would have appreciated, like I don't know, she's like his
sister.
his sister or something a little more intense or something like. And now I'm just thinking of like the Scream movies, because the Scream movies kept that through line too for so many of them, and they did that like pretty well. Like it was just being in love with Donovan from afar, and then losing your mind at the people who.
yeah, I think I read this and in the middle I was like, oh, is she his sister? And then when I read that she was in love, I got so mad. And I think the reason, like, I guess you're right. Like the Donovan through line does make sense, but it just wasn't executed well, and that made me upset.
Yeah, it falls flat, and it's annoying because of the way it is, not because it's a Donovan connection. It's not. Yeah,
I think, but I was so frustrated that I was like, oh my God, Donovan.
yeah. And then, right, the only other clues that Clara knew who they were that she knew information about their lives.
Yeah.
And was claiming that she was told that.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh, Jacob and I had a really long conversation, and like,
yeah. And then Jacob's like, no, we just talked about this.
and she's like, yeah, but then Stacey's like, oh, I don't trust you. I think you did talk to Claire, and I'm like, why? He's giving you no reason to think that he's interested. He barely pays attention to her.
Yeah, he's got a lot on his mind.
But I also thought it would have been more interesting if like Jacob, the reason why Jacob is like so non-interested in Clara, like it almost felt pointed to me that he was very clearly not paying attention to her, is I thought they had a past connection, and then when I realized that they didn't, I thought that Jacob's dreams had something to do with Clara, like his death was coming because of Clara and he didn't want to tell Stacey.
No, because if Clara showed up in his dreams, he would have been honest with her. I
that's
think
true,
because
but,
his
like,
dreams felt so isolated to just his death, I think that's why he kept them a secret.
Or like maybe he was getting like some sense of something from Clara.
I didn't think anything like that. I think he was just so teenage boy wrapped up in something that he was just gonna go deal with it. Like
I think I just wanted more reasons for them.
I think you want deeper things that aren't there.
Yeah, I'm just reaching for anything. I just want.
Yeah, but I think he was just a teenage boy who doesn't know how to process things and is just I think he was just shutting down, honestly. Like I don't think he picked up on anything from Clara, because also like if you're dreaming about your own death, that's really all you're going to be thinking about.
That's true.
Like that's all I would just be like, great, I'm dreaming about drowning and I'm staying at a beach house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, he could have come up with a better lie for why he didn't want to go swimming with Stacey. Because she was like, I want to go swimming with you. Like, it could have been like, I think I'm getting an ear infection.
Yeah.
Or something. Some reason to stay out of the water. I don't know. For women, it's easy because you could just be like, I'm on my period and I don't want to use a tampon. But, like, for men, I don't know. My eyes are really sensitive to the, like, you could come up with some fucking excuse as to why you don't want to get in the water. Instead of just, like, I don't know. But he is a teenage boy and teenage boys aren't good at this. But I would have liked better lies from him than him just being like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it felt like all the time he would just be hanging out and then he'd be like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah.
It's just like, come up with a better lie.
And he keeps, like, disappearing and Stacey's like, where the fuck is he? And everyone's like, I don't know.
But then all he was doing was just going to do spells, which, like, I almost would have been interested if he was going to, I don't know, like, if he
investigate something.
Yeah, like, or if he was trying to put the pieces together for what was leading up to his death, but he was just having dreams about drowning and then going to do spells and, like, to protect himself from it. And I would have, I don't know, what if he found, like, someone else, like, kind of spooky on this, like, in this beach town and, you know, was, like, sharing this with that person and trying to get their help or something. But instead it's just,
that
like,
would have been really interesting.
Right? More in his journal to read about, too.
Yeah. And then also, like, maybe Stacey kind of talks to that person, too. And I don't know. It would have been more interesting to have.
Yeah, because then also it could have been like, oh, Stacey finds, maybe there's like a crystal shop on the thing, and then Jacob's been like talking to this person about his premonitions, and then toward the end of the book, Stacey finds the shop and then says something, and then that person says something vague that's like, oh, yeah, well, like, that other guy who came in here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and it's just like, and then maybe that's how she gets clued in that he's in danger.
That would have been so much better.
Okay, let's rewrite it.
Let's just rewrite the book.
I mean, who knows what Lori Faria Stollers was thinking about. And maybe she was just like, you know what? Maybe she was like, I didn't want to write 3 books.
Yeah, this one just like, it was so much, it was bad. It was bad. I did not think this was a good book.
I also, now that I'm thinking about it too, I've always had a pretty good memory of Blue is for Nightmares, and that, like, I couldn't totally remember how that one ended, but I kind of did. And then the rest of them, my memory just maybe I read Blue is for Nightmares more than once as a teenager, but honestly, I only remember some like the big reveals in Red is for Remembrance. I don't remember the problem.
So I don't think I ever read Red is for Remembrance. I think I got to this book and I was mad.
Oh, you were mad?
And I think I didn't remember that until I finished this book. And I was like, because I was trying to, like, and I knew that
the big reveal.
The big reveal in Red is for Remembrance, but I was like, I didn't care enough to pick it back up. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be new.
Yeah. I remember being mad and sad at the end of this one just because, you know, Jacob died and my little teenage heart loved Jacob.
We love Jacob.
And, but yeah, I do remember being resisting because I was like, Jacob's not there. And just like not wanting to deal with it.
Why would I read it when the character that I love is gone?
My favorite character, even though he is like
he's just a dum-dum, but he's not as dumb as Chad. Should we talk about Chad a little bit?
I mean, we can talk about Chad's just stupid. Chad's just...
The breakdown of Chad and Drea's relationship, maybe it does make sense because they're not as connected as Stacey and Jacob, but they
Drea admits that.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
But like, I think it was just because, I guess in my mind at the end of White is for Magic, they, you know, were back together, like, you know, first loves and everything was going to be good. And we didn't really, I don't know, all of a sudden they just had a lot of issues in their relationship that popped up, and I don't know. I mean,
that part doesn't surprise me because they have had such an on again, off again thing.
That's true.
They like, it's not that they like issues already sprung up. These issues have been there the whole time.
I guess I did forget that they had a tumultuous relationship.
Yeah, but and I can also see Drea developing an insecurity because
he picked Stacey at one point.
Not even fully that, just like, you know, they did date, but then Stacey is with this guy who she has this like really remarkable connection with. And, you know, Drea says to Stacey, Chad and I don't have that connection that you and Jacob have. And I think that along with everything, like you dated my boyfriend and you left him for this guy who you have a deeper connection with than I do with him. I think Drea and Chad would be better off just breaking up. And I have no memory of what they're doing in Reddit's Remembrance either.
Yeah, because we don't really get a sense of where their relationship is at the end of the book, just based on everyone's more focused on the fact that Jacob died. Which, of course,
and that takes precedence.
Of course. So, it's kind of a cliffhanger of what happens to their relationship, too.
Oh, but we didn't say what. So
even though we don't really care that much.
We didn't say, though, what happened between them fully. Chad and Clara are caught making out.
Clara's a little homewrecker.
Yeah, and here's the, like, I'm not excusing the behavior, but for a teenage boy, I also find it, like, if a girl is throwing herself at you with an intention of fucking things up, I also, as a teenage boy, have a little more empathy for, like, him succumbing to that.
Yeah.
I'm not a Chad supporter, but I will just say if as a teenager with hormones and whatever, if this girl, like, her intention, it's not like they just had a spark and it was like, ooh, maybe, like, she's trying to fuck this shit up.
Yeah, she's doing her level best.
Yeah.
But even at the beginning,
even then, like, you have a girlfriend, my guy.
He was checking her out when she popped up.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the guy checking another girl
but
out.
like, and yeah, I don't know. He has a history of kissing other people while he's with Drea.
It's not wrong. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with your partner checking out somebody else who walks in.
No, but I think it was just, that was like a signal that their relationship was not where it could be.
Because it bothered her so much?
Yeah, because it bothered her so much. And I think
I feel like Drea is also just, like,
very jealous of other women.
Very insecure. I think it would have bothered her whether they were on good footing or not.
But then they also, I think it was like they had a fight earlier that day.
Right. I forget what it was. It was about something stupid.
About Stacy. I think it was something stupid where Chad was like, oh, your voice is getting all high pitched. Like Stacy's voice does that too. Like, oh, it's so cute when Stacy does that. And Drea's like, excuse me.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do remember that now. And then, because all the relationships are in a rough spot, basically, because, Jacob's distanced from Stacy and Chad and Drea have that thing. And then, Amber's really pissed at PJ for liking Clara, even though they're not together.
Even though, like, Amber's adamant, like, I don't want to be with PJ.
She so does.
Yeah. Maybe she does and she doesn't. Like, I don't know. They have a weird thing going on because they're both gay.
I don't know. I think based on this book, I think she wants to be with him. I think she's embarrassed about the fact that she wants to be with somebody as weird as PJ.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because I've been embarrassed about, like, having feelings for kind of weird people.
But Amber's also very weird.
Yeah. But in her mind, PJ is lower than her.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So they always have that, like, difference in, like, power dynamics because she thinks that she's above PJ.
Yeah. And so when they all, in the frat party cruise thing, it was supposed to be just like a thing where the ship goes out and comes back in for like one night or whatever. And Chad and PJ are rooming together on the cruise ship, and like everybody's
more about their friendship,
and nobody's like talking to them. And then Stacy is hanging out with Amber and Drea, but then she's also trying to keep an eye on Clara, so she brings Clara with her. And I'm just like,
nobody wants Clara
whether
around.
Clara did this on purpose or not, like, she wouldn't go with you to hang out with them in the hot tub. Like, and she tries to like apologize, but it's just like, if you brought the girl who made out with my boyfriend to hang out with us in a group, I would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Get her away.
Well, also she was also like, I didn't even know you guys were together. Like, he hardly talks about you. So
just like
pointed.
Salt in the wind.
Like, he never talks about you at all. Like, how was I supposed to know you guys were together or that you were having these like huge problems?
Yeah,
like,
how was I supposed to know you guys were like super serious or committed or something? Yeah.
Even though like she did know because she asked Stacy like before, or she was asking Stacy about her relationship with Jacob. I don't know. She was
I don't remember.
She was trying to get her kicks wherever she could.
Yeah, but I just find it funny that Drea didn't get mad at Stacy for bringing Clara around. That's the point I was making. It's just like Like, it was just, and like, even though Drea understands that she's trying to protect her, I'd be like, protect her over there.
Yeah, I was like, you go protect her.
Yeah.
I don't want her around me.
Yeah.
That's a good
It
point.
was just, and then like, it's just, you're just making the situation awkward. Let Drea hang out with Amber on this fucking cruise ship and party the night away, and then you can come find them when you need help.
Yeah.
But just like, you can keep an eye on Clara.
Like, but then like Stacey's like, oh, thanks a lot, guys. You're not helping me at all. And I'm just like, because at this point, when they're on the cruise, this is like the day after Clara had kissed Chad. And
next day, yeah.
And then like Drea and all the girls like walked in on that happening. So like, of course, Drea's like super mad. Yeah. So like, come on, Stacey.
Yeah, it's a lot of odd dynamics.
Stacey just cares so much, and she's like,
she gets tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision, and then she gets mad when her friends don't have the same level of like care that she has.
Well, I would have also I would have appreciated even just a very quick exchange between Stacey and Drea and Amber saying like, I know you hate this bitch and I'm not happy with her either, but like Stacey was saying, I'm going to be attached at the hip with her because she's in danger. So,
or like,
I need you guys to like just having that brief exchange of like acknowledging, I know you hate this bitch and I understand and I kind of hate her too, but here's what has to happen. Can you help me with this?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Good. Like I would like that. But instead it's just like bringing this woman who's destroying your relationship over and just being like, hey guys, let's all hang in the hot tub.
And then like when Drea gets mad, she's like, oh, what's wrong with you, Drea?
Yeah. Also, it bothered me, that Stacey was wearing a tankini.
I remember that. I was like, come on, Stacey, you have the confidence to wear a itty bitty teeny. I'm just kidding.
It just feels like it's pointing to like
Either
the good character, the wholesome character wears the tankini, and the Dreas
or the
only,
Claras.
They're the only ones who get to wear the little bikini. I just didn't like that it was specifically a tankini on Stacey. Like because she's the modest one. No, Stacey can wear a bikini. She can be naked for all she wants.
Yeah,
like
I did notice that, and I thought it was weird because
I've noticed that in like several things.
Yeah, there are several pointed references throughout this book of Drea wearing like teeny tiny bikinis.
Yeah, and it could have been the author just trying to show like insecurity between the two, but
and like the differences between the two girls.
But I would have appreciated maybe a little more internal dialogue from Stacey about that instead of just the acknowledgement of the two different things. Because it just feels like the heroine of the story wears the tankini and is more modest
and she's good, therefore good.
And then the side characters who have more noticeable flaws wear the itty bitty bikinis. I didn't like that, and I've noticed that in, I feel like, other teen movies as well, and teen stuff. The good girl is wearing the more modest bathing suit.
Yeah, and that's just a societal issue.
And not to say like a tankini can't be cute.
No.
But
I've never really known an 18-year-old to wear a tankini though.
I think I had one as a teenager. Maybe not at 18, but I remember having one at one point. But yeah, I don't know. That just kind of annoyed me.
No, it annoyed me too.
All girls wear bikinis or no girls wear bikinis.
I know. Yeah.
I don't know. Fucking Clara, man.
Yeah, she was annoying. Okay, I wrote down some actors.
I forgot to think about that.
Okay, let me know what you think. Some of these are out there, but I just went with it.
Are you going to just name people I don't know?
I hope not. There are definitely some people in here that you know. I'll keep to the ones that I'm like for sure that you know. For Stacey, we have Zendaya, which I'm sticking with. But
Who's that? No, I'm kidding.
I also have like, I don't know, like Christina Ricci or like Winona Ryder, Jenna Ortega.
Yeah. I also thought, actually, I did think Neve Campbell.
Ooh.
Would be
or like Rachel Zegler. I don't know if you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Those are my names for her. For Stacey. For Drea, I've got Sydney Sweeney.
Yes.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh. I think she could elevate the character of Drea.
I think we talked about Jennifer Lawrence and Florence Pugh in the last book episode.
Yeah, so I'm just tossing those back in.
Yeah.
For Amber,
we had trouble with Amber.
Drew Barrymore.
Oh yeah.
And also have you seen The Bear? Mm-mm. Okay, then you won't know. I was like she plays.
Well, you can say the actor's name for anyone listening.
Ayo Edebiri.
Nope, don't know who that is.
Okay. Well, she's like really funny. I think she could do something with the material.
Yeah.
Anna Kendrick.
Jeremy Allen White could have played Donovan, though.
Yeah. Emma Stone.
For Amber?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, young, like
Young,
like easy A Emma Stone.
Yeah. For Chad, I just got the most, like, this is going to sound mean, like the most boring looking actors I could think of. So, like, Chase Crawford.
I know who that is. I'm having trouble picturing his face.
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron would be good because
Yeah.
Zac Efron can play that. I mean, Zac Efron is a phenomenal actor and he plays very, like, good, deep actors.
I'm thinking, like, Zac Efron, like teenage Zac Efron.
Yeah, like Troy Bolton. Yeah.
For Jacob, I'm thinking Penn Badgley. Badgley, thank you. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, interesting.
Charles Melton. He was in May just like,
No, I know who that
yeah,
is.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I just threw that one out as my wild card. And also Tyler James Williams.
I don't know who that is.
He was in the TV show Everybody Hates Chris, and now he's in Abbott Elementary.
I don't watch either of those.
Okay. He's cute.
I
like
still stand by my grungy, longer
Yeah.
hair Logan Lerman one, like with his with the scruff and his longer hair. Like I think that version of Logan Lerman would make a good Jacob in my head.
For Clara, I have these are just like the most random names. Kate Winslet. I'm thinking Kate Winslet specifically in the I'm not lesbian.
Right. What's that called?
I can't remember the name of the movie.
Shit. Sweet. It's fuck. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
Keep listening. I need to Google it. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Mia Goth.
Okay.
And then Stephanie Sue from I think I'm so sure that I butchered her name. From Everything Everywhere All at Once. She plays the
okay.
daughter. I thought she was like really good at playing that kind of like unhinged character.
Yeah, I can see that. How it's like something like Heavenly Creatures.
Heavenly Creatures, that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other characters like Clara, who's like, yeah, just a little bit
Crazy.
Yeah, but I can't think of any.
For Donovan, I've got Barry Keoghan, Nicholas Holt, Christian Slater.
Oh, Christian Slater is interesting.
I'm thinking like
Wait, who did I say could be
the
Donovan earlier?
Heathers. I forgot. It was a
forgot.
good name.
I just forgot. I forgot. Somebody who's watching this commented.
Yeah.
Because I forgot. I forgot what I said. I mean, the only thing I really know Christian Slater from that I've watched very sincerely is Mr. Robot. So it's a little bit harder. I mean, like, I
I'm
get it
thinking, like,
because I know he had like a really
the
long career
Heathers.
before that.
Yeah.
But and even in Mr. Robot, he has some of those vibes about him. But
I just recently watched Unfrosted on Netflix where he plays like a milkman, but he's like in like the milkman. The milkmen are like a gang. It's like a milkman mob.
like the Bloods and the Crips.
It was really funny though. But yeah, I'm thinking Christian Slater, like Heather's era.
Yeah, no, I totally know. Like same with like Kate Winslet and those
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
But my brain just pictures him in Mr. Robot. Like I just picture him as like a middle-aged man in Mr. Robot. Like, because that's
Let's make Donovan a middle-aged man.
that's just what I more intimately know him as.
For PJ, I have Michael Cera, Pete Davidson.
No.
That's just a random one. Christopher Mintz-Plasse from thinking like McLovin from Superbad.
Oh. I get what you're saying with those, but I don't picture PJ quite as that.
PJ was hard. I had a hard time, so I just leaned into the weird.
Because PJ's not, but he's not a nerd.
No.
And McLovin is nerdy.
Yeah.
And Michael Cera, I can see that a little bit more, even though he's definitely played like nerdy. That's why it's hard because PJ's he's not nerdy. He's just weird.
Yeah, he's a hard character to.
Yeah. He's like maybe even like a Jason Segel type, like young in Freaks and Geeks Jason Segel.
Oh yeah.
Because like his character in Freaks and Geeks was also kind of weird. And he got really intense with what's her face? Lindsay. What's her name? Linda Cardellini.
Thank you.
Her
She would have
character.
been a good Stacy.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. She could have also done Amber because when she did Velma, she like snapped into
That's
that character really
right.
well. So she could have. She could totally have.
PJ was a hard character for me. I had a really hard time. I just wrote the names down to have something for him.
Honestly, like the only one I genuinely think maybe somebody hit you in the head when you were writing it down is Pete Davidson.
I
'Cause
think
have
I was just
no
like-
idea why you put that.
I just needed another
The
name.
other two, the thought process makes total sense to me. Pete Davidson is just like you put names of actors in a hat and pulled one.
That's kind of how I
Because
felt like.
I'm just like,
I just
like Pete Davidson would make more sense as Donovan to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just put, he was like such an afterthought. I had gone away from this for like 20, 30 minutes. And then I was just like, I just wrote his name down as an afterthought.
You could have. I mean, look, if you thought it made sense, I'm not judging you. I just genuinely can't
No,
wrap my
I
head
didn't
around
really
it.
think for him. I just wrote it down to have it down. I thought about the other two.
Yeah, no, the other two I understand your thought process, but I disagree only in the sense that I feel like PJ's not nerdy and those guys are played the nerdy guys. But there aren't a lot of like just weird male characters on the screen like PJ like that. There aren't that many.
If you guys have any names of actors, please let us know. PJ was a hard one for me.
Yeah, PJ's tough. I'm trying to even just think of like those teen shows where there's maybe that one weird dude that kind of walks by or something.
Yeah. And the only one that's coming to mind is like, you know, like Doyle from the Gilmore Girls. But even then, that doesn't work.
That fits more than the other names you listed for me, but it's still like not quite right. But that one definitely fits. Or maybe even like Xander. What's his name?
Oh, you know what? That would have worked.
Xander's kind of a
Did
PJ.
I not like think of that? Yeah.
I don't know. You thought of Pete Davidson.
I know.
though.
I went down the Pete Davidson road.
Yeah. Oh, I forget.
Cross his name off and put Xander's name
Yeah,
on.
I'm blanking on that actor's name, but yeah, because he's nerdy, but not in the normal way, and he's like
he's just a weirdo.
He is like attractive in kind of that like slightly different way.
Yeah.
But he's a cute guy.
Yeah.
Like they actually had to tell him to work out less on Buffy because he was getting too buff, and they were like, "You're not going to be nerdy if you're like ripped, my guy." But then when his character becomes a construction worker,
It makes more sense.
They were like, yeah, but when he was a teenager, they had to tell him to actually chill.
That's really funny.
But yeah, I think, he's our PJ. There we go. We cast it.
Boom, we
now
did
we
it.
just need a time machine to bring all these people in the right timeline.
And hired like the best screenwriter ever to elevate this material.
Yeah, change this one into the structure that we
Like,
created. Yeah, honestly, maybe that's why these books were never made into like TV movies, because they're not that good.
yeah, but then like there have been so many where they have good material to work with and they just turn in like a shit screenplay.
Yeah, it happened. That happens a lot. I think the unfortunate part about that too is a lot of the red tape you have to jump through to make a movie. I think it's not necessarily the fault of the people who wrote the screenplay. I think it's during the process things have to get like chiseled down because they couldn't afford to do whatever. So then they had to change this setting to this setting because that one was too expensive and blah, blah, blah. But the biggest film to screen tragedy, I think, is Cirque du Freak.
I didn't see that one.
I didn't see the movie either, but I loved those. Those were
Who was in it?
I couldn't even tell you.
Was it like a Josh Hutcherson?
No, he wasn't in
Maybe
it.
he just looked like Josh Hutcherson.
No, he wasn't in. He wasn't in that. But the Cirque du Freak books are the books that made me like reading. So they also did that stupid thing where they combined the first 3 books to make that movie, and I think that was what fucked it up because. They if they wanted to combine the first 2 and then move on with it. The first 3, there's too much shit to put in there. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll get some Red is for Redemption in the next book.
I like that. Fingers crossed.
Because like I said, except for like the big like reveals and plot twists and like major plot points like that, and the fact that they're in college and Stacy's depressed, that's really all I remember.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember.
I think I'm
even in the summary of the next one, it says she gets close with somebody named Paula or something or somebody, and I was like, I have no memory.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah,
I think I might
this
have
person
read
is.
like the first couple chapters of this book and put it down. I don't. We'll see. We'll
I
see what
read the
happens.
whole thing. I just, like I said, Blue
Can't
is for
remember.
Nightmares. My memory is much more clear, and then it just gets fuzzier and fuzzier as time goes on. And I think it makes sense because the books get kind of worse.
They do.
But maybe
Like,
it's better.
The only one that held up, and I think like White is for Magic. It was like I think it was as good as Blue is for Nightmares.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my memory of White is for Magic was still pretty
Silver
clear.
is for sucking.
Silver is for sucking, and then maybe Red is for redemption.
Fingers crossed.
We'll see. Anyway, if you're reading along with us, what did you guys think of Silver is for Secrets? And who would you cast as PJ specifically?
Anybody, if you guys have names that we didn't mention, throw them out there.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of hard to come up with this list.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what it is? It's just, I think, also when you're reading a book, if an actor isn't kind of immediately who you're picturing when you're reading it, I think it's just like they don't fit this weird, like, blurry image in my head.
PJ was hard because he was a character that I kind of had a really hard time picturing. Like I could picture the other characters, but PJ, he's kind of enigma.
Yeah.
For me.
Maybe Justin Timberlake could play PJ.
He does have good comedic timing.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
And he had spiky hair back in the day.
He could just have like the ramen, like the crunchy, like.
Yeah, well, PJ dyes his hair a lot.
Yeah.
So I think just, a young, like 20-year-old Justin Timberlake could totally play PJ too.
I'm into it.
All right. Well, tune in next week for another chit chat so you and us have time to read Red is for Remembrance. And
Let us know your thoughts.
let us know what you think.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah, rate 5 stars wherever you're listening. And we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And I think that's it.
Catch you on the flip.
Bye.
Who killed your darling?